Hello, hi everybody. How are you doing? Less technical difficulties than last time, and so I'm gonna give it a few minutes for people to come, but I'm pretty much ready to go, which is great, except I've been running around without socks and my feet are cold, so I'm gonna put those on while I chat with you. They're also compression socks, and so they can help when I'm sitting for a long period of time to keep the blood pressure where it needs to be up, meaning up. So today we're going to be doing some Winsor and Newton gouache. Let me flip the camera over so that you can check out, whoops, wrong one. So you can check out what we're going to be playing with today. We're going to be swatching in this color swatching index. These are going to be like my swatching cards. This is actual watercolor paper. It's a lot better than the paper in this book for watercolor. We're doing gouache, so it matters a little bit less, but you can still kind of see some of the effects better theoretically. If you watered the gouache down a lot and you wanted to use it like watercolor, then you could you might be able to see a little bit more on this paper than you would in this book. My hand was wet and I picked up this book and it like left a little bit of a handprint. I was hoping it would dry by the time the live stream started, but oh well. It's not like it's a big deal. It's just a little feels a little unprofessional. Okay, so socks are on. Oh, and I also forgot the water. Let's grab the water and our paintbrushes. Also paintbrushes. So with gouache, it's a good idea to use like kind of a heavier duty paintbrush than watercolor. So watercolor I'd normally use, this is actually a pretty stiff brush, but this one's a little bit more firm. And I would use this for watercolor, and now I'm realizing why I don't love it for watercolor, and that's probably because it's not that floofy. So I have a lot of gouache specific brushes, and I don't typically use my watercolor ones, but I haven't divided them into like separate ones because I'm not that organized. So we're going to be using these brushes. We're going to put them in water first because it's always good to soak your brushes so that what gets up in the film. I always mean to look that word up and I never do. Film. You want water in here, not paint. So always soak the brushes first. I've actually already unboxed this set in another live stream that you can check out. If I remember to link it, I probably won't. Hold on, I got a hair in my face. I know it looks like I have hair in my face anyways, but I mean separate from this thing going on here. Okay, I already unboxed this in the first live stream I ever did, and that was quite a while back, probably like 2 years ago, maybe 3, I don't know. And this always happens. I mean, this happened in a different live stream, meaning that I had a hair in my face that I could not get out. Unboxed this. I haven't used these much because I don't use gouache a lot. And I prefer, this is not my favorite brand yet. I mean, we can give it another chance today. Maybe I'll like it better. I don't typically have favorites. I usually have multiple favorites because that's just how I roll. I tend to like a lot of different things and a lot of contrasting things that maybe you wouldn't think go together. So we're gonna go ahead and re-unbox this. It'll be almost like the first time I've used it because when I have done a gouache painting, I think I used Holbein. Oh, I used acrylic gouache a lot. I ended up buying some of that and loving that. We're going to do that next week, probably next Tuesday. So I'm pretty sure these are colors that came with it. I bought some separate ones and just to like round out the set and get the colors that I wanted, but I don't know which ones came in the set and which ones didn't, but you can probably find that out online pretty easily if you just look at this introductory set. I got it about 2 years ago, so it's Winsor and Newton. Let me see. I meant to look up some information about the brand because I have watercolor and gouache in this brand, and it's a highly loved brand, and so I would like to know more about it. But I didn't have time. It has been a chaotic week. That's why we didn't do the live stream. On Tuesday, I had an event that surprised me. Wonderful event. It was great. I wasn't expecting it though. And so had to reschedule for today. And I actually had planned to start doing live streams on Thursdays anyways. So it's fine. For me at least. I don't know for you all out there. A lot of you may have expected me to be there Tuesday, and I was not. So we're going to do these in rainbow order as usual, because you want them. I like to do the paints as close to each other as possible. I'm using, let's see, right, how do I point? All right, this list right here, I don't know how big it is for you. I hope that you can zoom in on it to see this list of things I look for in watercolor paints. I actually don't really look for them in gouache because gouache has different things going on for it than I just want to fix one thing. Why is that not working? Oh, I see. Okay. Bear with me a second. So with gouache, its main job is to be opaque, like opaque watercolor. They act pretty similar if you water them down, but if you don't and you just have them pretty thick, they're really similar. And what I didn't love about this brand is that it wasn't really smooth when you moved it across the paper. My favorite was M-Gram. M-Gram doesn't work for me because it has a tendency to get moldy. I could add honey to this. I also wanted to use M-Gram so that I could put it in like a palette to travel around with, because I wanted to use gouache like in a coffee shop or something. But I realized that I don't really like doing outdoor painting because like being outside, not just outside the studio, but like outside in general. I don't like doing outside painting because I have sensory issues and there's just too many unpredictable factors. And I also have health issues, and those unpredictable issues can trigger those health issues, mostly like headaches is what I'm talking about, like a headache or like stiff shoulders and neck. So anything that's like subconsciously irritating me, I'll tense up, not realize I'm tensing up, and then I'll be in trouble. So I just don't do plein air painting anymore. So I don't need to work outside the studio. If I'm going to paint, it's going to be in a controlled environment. And the controlled environment might be a coffee shop. It might be my studio. But it's probably not going to be outside. So here, let me show you the bottom of the box so that you're going to get a sense for what's going on here. And I also want to see if they have any information about the content. Contains MBIT, may produce an allergic reaction. Hazardous. Warning, hazardous respirable droplets may be formed when sprayed. Do not breathe spray mist. I mean, I think that's a good advice anytime you're spraying something that's not like plain water. And even water, that'll drown you if you put too much. So yeah, that wasn't particularly helpful information. I'm going to look at these and just to give us a sense of what... I'm going to use my phone as a magnifying glass for a second because I don't know where mine is. Oh, we're not getting a ton of information. Looks like it's made in France. We have a phone number we can call. We've got the pigment number, and I think we have, so we've got a square. Let's see if you guys can see it. Do you see that square with the line through it? And we have the name, primary red. We have permanence B. We have the series number. I don't record the series number because I don't find that relevant. Unless I wanted to know, like, is this going to be expensive to replace? But if I love a color, it's worth spending the extra money on it. Okay, so that's the information we have, which is a little bit less than you would normally see on a watercolor label. And that's okay. So, oh, lighting. Are we well lit? I think we're good. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. I literally will sing that song to myself. I have memory issues, so I'll sing that and the alphabet song to myself pretty often. My memory has been better lately, though. I'm taking a medicine that's supposed to help with the memory, and I'm taking... Oh, and I'm doing so much better with, like, my gut health. Okay, I think that looks good. Except we're gonna do it out of order so I'm gonna do on this side, we'll start here with this one and go all the way to here. And then on this side, we'll start with these like black and then move down to, that's not gonna make sense to you because it's not in the camera. Sorry, you'll see when we do it. But I just really want the greens to be next to each other, if at all possible. And the reds to be more next to the browns. And then we've got white, which I never know what to do with. We'll put it here. Actually, you know what? Sometimes I don't swatch the white. Okay, let's see if we can get this all in the frame. Almost. We're so close. Yes, I just should have tested this before I brought you all on here. Sorry. And I think I want to put this closer to me. Move. I'm going to see if I can adjust the camera a little bit more to my liking. Nope. I know that we're supposed to be doing this off camera. It's not like it's a rule or anything, but it helps. It helps give you guys a better experience. But if you want to know how the sausage is made, this is a great place to be. Okay, so we've soaked our brushes and we're ready to go. Now we need our pen. We're going to start with white. And we're also going to write down the name of the brand that we're doing. Winsor and Newton Designer Gouache. Not to be confused with Winsor and Newton watercolors. If you want to see those, if you're accidentally here for the watercolors and you're disappointed that this is gouache, I have another video on swatching the watercolor. Oh, that's right about it. Okay, so it's zinc white. And normally I do these all tiny, but we have so few that it's fine if we spread it out. And I'm going to make a line here. Let's do that first because that'll take a minute to dry and we don't want it getting all over when the paint goes through it. If it's dry, it's waterproof. If it's wet, it's not waterproof. zinc white, and it's permanence A. I'm going to assume that's good. And we're going to do a square that's colored in. And I'm going to assume that that is meaning that it's very opaque. And PW5. I need to drink some water already. By the way, this little tray here, it's like a soap dish from Target. I got it as a soap dish and realized it wasn't the right fit for my family and decided it would be a really great fit for watercolor. Or in this case, gouache. I'm actually going to let these dry a little bit longer, so we'll just write down. I'm just checking to see which red I want to do first. I think I'm going to do Spectrum Red. I feel like that has like more purpley. At least from the tag on this. That doesn't mean when we swatch it, it'll look anything like what's in the tube. And this is called Spectrum Red. Spectrum Red, Permanence A. That's great. I think that's why I bought it. I think it wasn't light fast. And so I was like, let me grab a light fast red. I don't think it's what came in the box. I think primary red is. It's multi-pigments. So it's PBR 25 and PR 170. And oh, they put the light fastness on the back here? Weird. So it says permanence A on the front, but it says light fastness 2 on the back. Let's see what the white one said. Oh, I didn't notice it said light fastness 1. Interesting. Okay. I don't know what permanence means. And I apologize for not, looking beforehand. You can come in and say hi if you want.
That's okay.
But I am live. Do you want to come see what I do in person, in the flesh? You swatch them so that you can see if it oops, I just mixed red in. You swatch them so that if you can check if what's in the tube is the same color. You do it so you can also know the consistency, you get an idea for the paints. And you can, what I'm doing is I'm making this swatch book, which I don't know if you've seen me do it before, but it's for being able to see, look back and be like, oh look, these are my paints for that particular brand. Oh no, I wasn't supposed to do gouache here. I wanted to only do watercolor in this section, and I actually flipped over and did gouache further down. Oh well.
So it's like you're cataloging your paints.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what you have, and then if I'm like, oh, I really want to use these particular paints, but I want this particular color. And I look in it and I'm like, oh, I have this turquoise in this other brand which works really differently, or I have it in this turquoise in this same brand that works really similar.
Now this is a cool case for AI.
Why?
Because you can do all this, put it inside a machine, and then while you're painting, you say, that's the color that I want in my catalog. Which color matches the best next to this?
That sounds awesome.
Because right now you have to flip through and look for it, and you might have many books, you don't know.
Well, I'm hoping I only have one book.
Okay.
That's the point.
even with one book,
yeah.
It's difficult, right?
But I mean, I've told you I want to do that with my clothes.
I can see much easier to do with
paint. Yeah, that'd be great. Do you mean make an app for it, or do you mean?
Even better, people take a photo of it
and then it matches. Sometimes photos aren't accurate though, but I mean, I guess that would be up to the consumer to make sure it was accurate enough.
yeah, I mean, you can deal with those problems later, but the idea is good, you know.
Yeah, and you just announced it to everyone on the live stream, so if you want, if you wanted it to be private, I don't think anybody's on right now.
There's more ideas in this world than implementers.
That is true.
So
that's a good point.
So if someone else take the idea, go ahead, because I might not actually even do it.
Yeah,
so.
We have so many ideas that we've never done. Okay, thanks for joining me for a second. So this one is primary red. And it's permanence B, whatever that means. Is PR170. It's semi-opaque. And it doesn't have any information about the light fastness that I can see, at least not in the same spot that the other one was. So, I mean, that's one super irritating thing. Look, the front looks so similar. I mean, the spacing's a little bit different in how they've put the words, but then they have different information on the back. Let's see if you guys can all see this. Maybe I can look at the screen instead of my magnifying glass. I don't think it's actually better, but yeah, there's no light fastness information on this one. I do think, though, from my memory, it's not really light fast, and that's why I have two reds that look so similar. So it looks like, although zinc is theoretically very, very opaque, you can still see these lines through it perfectly. And I find that, that's my worst thing with watercolor, is that it's so difficult. Hold on. Look at that cherry red. Or is that cherry? I don't know. It's a much pinker red, in my opinion. So I'm putting more water in them this time, and I'm enjoying them a lot more. They're a lot smoother, and it may be the paper that I'm using is different, but I'm enjoying these paints so much more than last time. And I'm also just accepting that if I'm ever going to sell my artwork, which I have yet to do, mostly just because of time constraints, I just only have so much time, and you got to pick what you're going to do. As Teddy was saying, there's a lot of ideas in the world, and there's not enough time to do them all. So I have prioritized doing other things rather than literally selling my work. I'm more of a teacher than a business person. I like sharing. That is a lot of red crumbled here on. Yeah, I'm much more of a teacher than a business person. So, and I don't really care if I sell my stuff. It'd be nice, but I do care about education a lot more. Flame red. Not that I won't ever sell my paintings, but if I do, my point was, I'll do prints. I probably will not do originals until I get so many originals in my storage area that I cannot store them any longer, and I need to get rid of them. But we're not there yet. This is permanent A, and it's two pigments, PO72. Is that the same as either of these? No. And PR170, which is the same as primary red and the same as part of permanent A. Permanent A. Sorry, Spectrum Red. And that's it. That's the only information we got. Nothing else. Well, I'm sorry. It's supposed to be super opaque, but by what we've seen with the white, we know that's kind of a lie, right? So, I mean, maybe it means staining. Yeah, that might be what they're referring to. Because, like, gouache is just supposed to be, like, opaque. Whether or not they're consistent across each color. Oh, I want to put my phone on silent. I forgot to do that. Okay. So it doesn't tell us anything more about the light fastness. At least, maybe it's written in here, but I can't read that. I don't know what that says. Oh, it's really, look at that. Look how watery that is. That's the binder coming out. It's not the paint. Okay. It's taking up a lot of space on the palette. Hope I don't run out of space. I don't have that many colors, so it should be fine, but let's scoop it up and mix it up. One thing I will say is that big old blob is probably really smooth. It is. So smooth. And that's what I didn't like about it last time, is it just felt very, like, rough on the paper. I didn't enjoy it. So, I did do it without adding water, though. I wanted to see what it would be like if my brush was a little bit drier than it is just when I dip it in the water. So, right now, I have dipped, okay, let's move this where you can see it. I've cleaned it off in the dirty water, and then I rinse it in the clean water. Now, I could take it out and put it in here, and that'll be a lot of water. Or I can do this, and this, and now I have very little water left on here. And you can see when I do that, there's not as much movement as there is going to be when I don't let it out. Just that difference in the amount of water is crucial with gouache and watercolor. The amount of water you have on your brush is a big important factor. Okay. So now you've seen how to add the water. Let me put this back. Or not how to add the water, how I add it. Just how I did it. It's not a requirement by any means. I'm gonna soak up this water right here though. This is making me actually want to use this gouache. I have not had any desire to use it because my first swatching experience was quite biased, seeing as I didn't add water. Like I blotted the brush just because I wanted to see. Here, no. I want to give you an example, but not that one. And we want it to be fresh out of the tube. So I'll show you with this one. So Permanent Yellow Deep. This is one of my favorite yellows. Permanent Yellow Deep. And it's Permanence A. It's kind of redundant. And they give us the light fastness information on this one. And they tell us it's PY65. And I'm totally out of the frame, sorry. And they tell us that it is semi-something. Should we look that up? Should we look what that means? The light fastness is 2. Let me check again on Flame Red. Nope, they don't tell us. And the other one was Primary Red. They don't tell us. If I had realized what the colors really look like, I think I would have put this one on top here. I was thinking the colors looked more switched on the label. To have the lighting right for you, though, the lighting isn't as bright for me. Just something about the way the cameras are working lately is that they over illuminate. So it's a little washed out for you if I put too much lighting for me. Okay. So this is a pretty dry paint right here. It's not, there's no binder coming out or anything. I've dried up my brush, and I don't remember why. You know it's really dry because this brush always like fans, breaks in the middle, which I don't like. I don't remember why I cared what it was like with no water. It may have been like a certain technique that I was trying at the time, if I remember. But what I wanted was to scoop it up and for it to just slide all the way across, and it could not. You could do that, I think, with Graham, and I think you can do it with Holbein, at least a little bit better than you can with this. And that could come in handy for a lot of different reasons. Having it be really dry in the tube at the time I considered a bad thing, but now I'm like, who cares? Just add some water. Your problems are over. Like, I don't know what my deal was because I always had water. Like, I'm used to doing watercolor, so going back and forth between the two mediums, I think it's better to have something be a little drier so that if I get confused and forget that I'm gouaching instead of watercoloring, then I can, and I you know, add a little more water than normal. It's fine. It'll still look great. So, because I tend to forget that I'm using gouache, not watercolor. Seriously. Like, I actually started out with gouache. I started my back into art journey with gouache. Because I was fascinated by it. I thought it was something else. I'll say more about that in a minute after I write this down. Primary yellow. It's permanence A, whatever that means. And the pigments are PY74. And this one's PY75. And PY138. I don't know if you can see on the chart here, but the bottom where there's actual like colors, you'll see that it says Y, and then you'll see yellow, and then O and orange. So when you look at this, the PY, that means that there's a yellow pigment in here. And this is PY, so yellow pigment. PR, that's a red pigment. PO is orange. So this is orange red. So I'm glad this is here. The orange is next to this. PR 170. PB, this has some blue. PR, this has red and blue together. So this definitely should go further down. Well, it doesn't really matter because color is not actually a line, a spectrum. When you think of color as a spectrum, it's actually more like a constellation, just like the autism spectrum disorder. It's a constellation. I think it'd be fair to say the same thing about ADHD or anything to do with the brain. You're going to get a constellation of symptoms that are like really all over and really different. And with color, it's the same. It's not just a line like a rainbow. It actually goes like this. At least that's how I see it. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me, because I mean, I'd love to understand it better, and understanding color is really confusing because it's not linear, because it's such a how would you say it? It's such a complex, multifaceted thing. So like if you add white to this yellow, you will increase its value or decrease it. Is darker increasing? Or anyways, you will lighten its value if you add white. You will deepen its value if you add black. If you add both, you will desaturate it. it's you know, there's just, and that's all that's a sorry. Hold still. That's it. That can make understanding what color should be going with what color very confusing. The only other thing we know about this is that it is semi something. We're gonna go for, you know what, I'm just gonna assume it's transparency. No, I'm gonna assume that it's its staining property. And staining pretty much just means how finely the pigment particles have been ground and whether or not they get stuck in the paper or if they kind of float on top of the paper. We're going to assume that, but that doesn't mean that is what it is. Feel free to verify what I'm saying and let me know if I was right. So my brush is clean and dry, and I'm going to show you again another example. Now this one moves a little bit more smoothly, and I'm sure that there are instances where you would want that, where you'd want to not add water to your wash. Today's not one of them necessarily, so we're going to add some water. I more want to know what it looks like if it's diluted, and what does it look like if it is not diluted. This one has been printed incorrectly, and the name isn't visible because it has Winsor and Newton printed on top of Winsor and Newton and then all the words. So cobalt turquoise, I think that's what it's saying. And we can see this part too as well. Let me see if, are we in focus? I don't know. This is the last one we're going to do in this row, and then we're going to switch over to up here. Cobalt turquoise. And it's the square fully filled. We can see that. And then we can see why. It might have more than this amount of pigment in it, but we know at least has PG50. And there might be other things as well. But I can't see it. Okay. And I don't think we're going to run out of room at all. And this is probably my favorite color in all of these. I love turquoise. I keep trying to wear it. It's not really my color. I can get away with it. I mean, you can get away with any color. Wear whatever color you want. I'm just saying that. Oh, we can probably say whether, does it say if it's permanence A? It's permanent double A. What is this, a bra? It's bra sizes on these. If you wanted to know what size bra turquoise wears, now you do. So I was telling you why I picked turquoise. Sorry, not turquoise. Why I picked gouache to start with. I thought it was encaustics. And it's not. Encaustics are, if you don't know, encaustics are paint. It's not even paint. It's just wax. Pigmented wax. And you can be very structural with it. And I'm quite fascinated with things being structural, although I don't tend to do it very often. If you look in my, can you see it in my background today? I don't know. Yeah. Behind the sewing machine, if you look right here, these 3 paintings, I have videos on how I made them, and they are done as a relief. And it was really fun to do. But for the most part, I don't make a relief before I paint the relief. So it was kind of like building a sculpture and then painting on top of it. So this one looks like it's got some granulation, even though it's gouache, which is interesting. You don't really think of gouache as like being granulating, but just the way some of the pigments end up working, it would be granulating. I'm not sure what causes granulation, but based on my years doing chemistry and physics, it wasn't like my major in college or anything, just in high school. I did take the classes in college, but I think that my guess is like the pigments would float. Some pigments are heavier and some are going to go more to the bottom and some are going to go more to the top. That would be my guess why granulation happens. It's surprising in what we think is probably a single pigment that it would have any variety in it, any variety in the shapes of the... My watch is telling me to take a break. Am I stressed? Oh my gosh, granulation's so stressful. It might be the position that I've got my body in. Maybe I just need to sit up straight, scoot my chin in. Take a deep breath. Okay. We're going to start with, should we start with brown or black? I think it wouldn't be bad to have the blue and the black next to each other, because black often has a lot of blue in it. In fact, did you know that makeup, when you're putting like the pigment colors in makeup, the only pigment color used, I need to verify this, but the only pigment used for blue is actually a black, and you can just add the teeniest amount of it and it will turn things blue, which makes sense why they don't have like a lot of makeup that would cater to olive skin tones or blue undertones. I don't know how often people literally have blue undertones, but a lot of people have pink. And when I was growing up, the only makeup I could find was pink, and I'm not pink. I'm more yellow. So like light skinned and pink. We live in a more international world, so I can probably get makeup for people. I could probably have then and now worn makeup that was developed in Asia, because more people there, I think, tend to have the more yellow skin tone. But I didn't know that, even though my best friend was Asian. So we've got yellow ochre. Like, I knew we could wear the same makeup, but I just didn't think anything about manufacturing or who things are manufactured for. Like, it just was like, oh, this is for pale skin, I'm supposed to wear this. And even though she was darker than we wore the same makeup except for foundation. I just thought it was convenient, but I didn't understand it at all. This one's permanent AA. And is that it? Is that all the information we have? That's it? Oh, there's a square here. Nope, it's just in a weird place. Okay. Or a different place, at least. Key Y42. Oh, we've got light fastness is 1. And we've got a square. Man, I cannot tell you, because what's been happening this week has nothing to do with me. So I can't tell you what's been happening in my week without like asking people permission. But it has been just the craziest week. So crazy. So many things have happened. So many changes. And I'm pretty happy about all of them. I think everybody's happy. Some people are more discombobulated. Some people don't like change. And so they're kind of upset that things change. Not upset that it changed, just like it disorients them. I'm not really so much like that I do struggle with change sometimes, but it really just depends on the change, and it depends on what time of the month it is. It depends on, yeah, it really depends on the change for me. I'm not change avoidant, even though I'm on the spectrum. Like, I know that's supposed to be one of them, but I do have ADHD, so I'm more ADHD, and you just get a different profile, and everybody's different. But yeah, I kind of like change, unless it's changing things that I rely on. Like, let's say somebody took away my studio, I'd be really upset. I'm very reliant on my studio for everything. For my, oh, that's kind of cool, those two mixing. I'm very reliant on it for what I do with my time. I would be like, what do I do with myself? How do I get my stuff done? It would be very disorienting for me. But if somebody in my family decided to cut their hair suddenly, I don't really care. Unless, how would that affect me? I don't know. I do have a family member, though, who gets upset if I move the furniture without telling them. If they come home and the furniture's moved, they're like... And then I have one that's delighted by it. And then one that doesn't care. Permanence A. PV29. Square. That's colored in. And we don't have any more light fastness information. Although it's a little bit clearer here, so let me look in this area. It just says it's made in France. And that makes me happ. I don't think of Winsor Newton as a French brand. I think of it as a British brand, and I'm pretty sure it's still British. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. I need a paper towel. The crumbles. Gouache can be really crumbly. And this is just as crumbly as any other gouache, I'm sure. I'm not sure how many gouache brands there are. Does anybody know? I know that there's like opaque watercolors, which are not necessarily gouache. No, I feel like it didn't get clean enough. Hold on. I don't want the brown getting in any of the other colors. I think that's good enough. Okay. Oh, is this brown? This is Purline Violet. I'm calling it brown. I'm calling it brown. I'm writing down Purline Violet. I am not processing at all what I'm saying. We're going to wait on this. And we're going to do... We're going to write... We're going to do black. Ivory black. Now that I'm wishing I put the black up here so that this color could be next to this, but they're close enough. It's fine. Permanent AA. PBK9. And we do have light fastness information. It's light fastness 1. Good to know that black and white are both light fast. least it's not a painting. That'd be so bad if I just put black down like poof, where it didn't belong. That would be awful. You see, this one moved a lot without adding any extra water to it. And I'm not cleaning out my brush that well because it's black and it's got all the colors in it. Although I guess I should have, because then I'd get a more accurate... I should have rinsed my brush better. I just put it in the dirty water. Sometimes I don't rinse my brush great if I'm using a dark color. Okay, now what are we going to do here? If we had more time, we could wait for it to dry and just hopefully paint over it, because gouache is supposed to be opaque. But we don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to keep trying to remove this. So I spend a lot of time removing paint that I don't want sometimes, because when you're doing a painting, you might put paint in the wrong spot, and knowing how to remove it with damaging the paper the least and damaging the paper's definitely getting damaged by what I'm doing right now. But this paper's not strong. I think a very good watercolor paper wouldn't mind what I'm doing, although I would angle my brush a little bit less. Like, I would put my brush, I would want less friction with the paper, and so putting it really flat and not at an angle would help. And the more water I use, the more the paper is going to get damaged. Oops. The water just like flew off the brush onto the white wash. Dirty water. Okay. I mean, I think this is as good as it gets. This is as much we're going to remove, and we will come to the Purulene Violet later. We're going to move on to Ultramarine. Which has some red in it, or like it's more red leaning, and so it'll be kind of close to the purple. Permanence A, PB 29, light fastness 1, and we've got a colored in square. I think I've said before, I like to use ultramarine to paint my husband's undertones. By the way, undertones don't really exist in real life, but they do exist in paintings. In that, like, when you're painting and you're doing layers or you're mixing colors, you're using a lot, and it might be literally under. But with human skin, if you're looking for your undertone, a lot of people imagine, and I did at one point, you imagine that there's different layers that are different colors, and that's not the case. When they say undertone, what they mean is, how to explain this? They mean the colors and the proportion of the colors that show up in your skin. So my friend and I, she's half Filipino and half Chinese, and she thought she was really dark. I don't know if she is by those particular standards. She would avoid going on this. She's like, I'm gonna get dark. I need sunscreen. I need to stay out of the sun. I think she was just probably repeating stuff her parents told her. I was told the same things. I wasn't told anything, and that would have been good advice for me. I got burned so many times that I now have to like check for skin cancer all the time because I got burned so much. And I don't remember ever wearing sunscreen to school, even though I lived in Southern California. And I played outside, but okay. I want to know if this granulates because I have been searching for an ultramarine that doesn't granulate so I can paint his skin tones. Now, I would do it as like a base layer and then paint other colors on top, probably a brown. I might paint different colors, layer them up until it makes a brown or a deep, deep chocolate color. I don't know if he walked in during live stream close enough that you could see him, but you could see like what color he is. All of the paints I have all of the watercolors that I have ultramarine, it all granulates a lot. And this is looking less granulating than most. So I might be able to use that. I've never mixed gouache and watercolor. So this is giving me ideas. Like maybe I would want to do that. Okay. So anyways, talking about skin color and like layering and all that. Talking about paint. So I can literally make layers that will look close enough to a human being's skin that you would think, yeah, that could be human skin, you know. Might not. I don't do photorealism, so it's not going to be like perfect, but it'll be convincing enough. It won't look like The Simpsons or whatever. But when you're talking about like actually real person, their body, their skin, mine looks much more red. Agent XP07, the Synlinie ultramarine watercolor doesn't seem to granulate that much. Are you serious? What? So maybe their new gouache will also not that much. Okay, so Agent XP. I am looking for a watercolor ultramarine that doesn't granulate. And I love Synlinie. Like they're my favorite brand. So they're kind of tied with Winsor Newton, but they're my favorite brand for painting doing portraits because you can layer with them really well. And so you have given me a reason to go to the art supply store because the stores in my area, some of them carry Synlinie. We're lucky to have a lot of art supply stores nearby. You think it's in one of my Aqua mini set. It's ultramarine deep, I think. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, that is super exciting. I don't think I have ultramarine deep, but we can check because this book is literally here for that. Although I don't want to open it too wide because then I'll put the colors together. Winsor Newton. I have Winsor Blue, Cobalt Blue, Prussian Blue. Nope, that's Winsor Newton. We're not looking at Winsor Newton. We're looking at Synlinie, which is the second thing I ever swatched. We have turquoise, cerulean, phthalo blue, French ultramarine blue. Okay, so do you see this French ultramarine? It's a beautiful color, granulates a lot. If you're saying that, I don't know what an aqua mini set is that like easy to Google? I can Google it because this is not deep. This is French ultramarine. So I will check out. And honestly, I love granulation, but I don't know why. Did you guys just see that where my hand became like gray in parts? I do not know why that's happening. That's like I think an OBS thing. Because it's done it on all the cameras I have. Thank you so much for that recommendation. I'm so excited. And I'm so excited to have a reason to buy more art supplies. Even though I've already spent my business budget for the month. We're going to keep moving, even though I want to tell you more about skin tones. Primary blue. Although I do think the audience for swatching gouache and the audience for skin tones might not be the same audience. It overlaps for me. I'm interested in both. But not everybody cares about fashion, makeup. Primary blue. Not everybody who cares about that stuff also cares about paint. Permanence. Hey, I consider makeup to be paint for your face. So I'm in the I love both category. PB 1.5. I don't wear a lot of makeup though. I find it very irritating. I also don't think wearing a ton of makeup looks particularly good on me. Some people it looks amazing. Some people it just kind of overwhelms them, and I think I'm in that camp. I think a little makeup on me is great. Okay, so we've got a filled in square. We've got light fastness 1, PB15. Usually they say PB :3 or PB. Oh, they don't have it there. Let's see if it's here. Yeah, so PB15:3. And then if it was, so this is green shade, and if it's more warm, it'll be a different number. I think it's 6. I don't have it on this one, so I don't know. That ultramarine isn't the most granulating. Kors isn't, although it's doing quite a bit of funny watercolor business on the edges. So I don't know if this one's more green leaning or more red, but just looking at the package, I'd say it's like kind of cerulean. Maybe they make it in the middle. Maybe there's a version of it that's not. Yeah, I want to know more about this. I'm very curious, so I always want to know more about everything. And there's only so many hours in the day that you can learn from, that you can learn everything. I mean, what do you think? Is this more green leaning or more red? I think it's really in the middle. It's very beautiful. So this would be way too green for my husband's undertones. He does not have any green. I mean, we all have all the colors in us probably to some degree or another, but it's not a dominant enough in him that it would be useful to make a painting with this color. It would work out fine if I put enough other colors, but he's not really like. So some people have a lot of colors in them and they end up looking kind of gray or kind of green. I'm kind of that one. I'm more like that. So you could use that color for me. Even though blue's not particularly primary in my skin, you could do that as long as you added other colors as well. I checked the box of my Sennelier Aqua Mini. It says the color is French Ultramarine Blue. And when I tested it, it didn't seem to granulate as much as my other ultramarines. Okay, that's awesome. Blue, not blue. It's the one that's a mix of PB29 and PV15. Okay, I'm going to write that down, because I want to remember that. And I could come back to this chat, but that's assuming that I do that, and that is not a good assumption. So I'm going to write down French. Oh, marine blue. That's the one I had. French ultramarine blue. But it's PB29 and PV15. I'm not going to check right now. I'll check at the end when we're done with all this. If you want to stay for me checking, I'll go back through. But right now I'm going to finish these last two. And we've got permanent green middle. Greens are almost always multi-pigment, I've noticed. So I'm going to assume that's what we're going to get today. Permanent green. Middle. How funny that they said middle. I don't know why that's amusing to me. Permanent A. Oh, and there's so many here. PY3. PY74, PG7. We've got a solid box. I tend to not buy a lot of greens because they're so easy to mix. But I love to have all the colors. I'm always sad when I'm mixing colors. Sorry, not sad when I'm mixing colors. I'm sad that I'm not buying all the colors. I'm sad that you can mix it because I just want to own all the colors. However, financially, it is so much smarter to mix your colors unless you burn through the paint really fast, and then getting a mixed convenience color makes so much sense. But I have a lot of different brands because I like to do different things, and I just am really curious about how things work. So I tend to, like, I wouldn't say I collect them, but like I'm interested in how things work is probably the best way to describe it. I just want to know when my brain decides to synthesize what I'm trying to tell you, I'll let you know. And then the last one, my last Winsor Newton Gouache is Viridian, which should have gone up here probably, but on the tube it's kind of hard to tell. But just Viridian just tends to be kind of bluish, right? I think it tends to be leaning towards turquoise. But I suppose it depends on the brand. Permanent. Double A. And we've got PG18 and a light fastness of 1 and a square. Oh, I think this is dry enough that we can do our purple, which I want to do as soon as possible because it's going to dry out and we don't want it to get too dry because then we don't get an accurate. Okay, I'm going to just leave that there and hopefully I remember I made the mistake. Wow. Is that the color? Did we mix it with black at all? That is just not what I was expecting. I like it. That's a beautiful color. I'm looking at the screen like, are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? I'm gonna try to put as much on top of the black as possible so that hopefully we can't see it. I don't think it's showing through. I just thought, wow, this is so deep. I thought, I know dioxazine purple is very dark, but I didn't expect purine to be dark, even though I literally swatched these before, but it's been a couple years. Okay, I hear my dog walking around, which makes me anxious because that probably means she's going to have an accident. So I'm going to need to go for a second and put her outside. Okay, I will be right back. It's totally worth Googling the Aqua Mini set as it's a cute little portable sketching set. Okay. Yeah, maybe they put a different one in. Okay. I'm gonna just let you guys hang out with the kitty for a minute. Yeah. Taya. Out. Out. Okay, stay. We're good. She decided to sit down on her throne, so I didn't need to put her outside. And I didn't find a puddle. She's really old. Oh, she got up again. Once she sits down, it's really hard to get her to move because she's so old. Okay, I'm gonna go put her out. Is she coming to me? Taya, come! I'm gonna call her again, but I'm gonna mute my mic first. I realized when I yelled it might hurt your ears, so I apologize. if that happened. I do like a mini set because I do paint at coffee shops. I don't typically do plein air. Like I said, sensory issues and getting overwhelmed. This one seems very opaque. I wonder if that means opaque. We can look it up when we're done here. But it also might just be that a lot of binder came out with it. Can you guys see her? I don't know if she's in frame. She decided to chill out on the floor over there. I'm going to squeeze out a little bit more of this to see if we can get it darker on that side. And see if it's a binder issue. If maybe we just got a lot of binder out with it. Yeah, so Agent XB, I wouldn't mind another little travel set, but I already have so many. I recently got a core one when I went on a trip, and I thought that we were going to be hanging out, my sister and I. We went on a trip together, and she was sick, and so I was like, oh, I can't actually be on vacation and not paint. So I bought a travel core set, which is really nice, and the tray for it I really like. The mixing area. And I did manage to get some colors that I didn't have before. Ultramarine something was one of them, I think. I don't remember which ultramarine. Okay, so what were we going to look up? We were going to look up the numbers for Sennelier. So it's PB. Let me see if I can pick up the book. Tilt it like this. PB29, PV15. I mean, that looks like a lot of granulation to me. I wonder if they have a difference in the way it's processed for a pan versus a tube, because these are tube paints. So is what you have, your Aqua Mini set, I'm going to assume. Let's look that up. So we can take it off airplane. Take it off silent. And we're going to look up Aqua Mini set for Sennelier. And this is what I'm seeing. So yeah, they're pan. Oh, they're not that. It's not that expensive. Interesting. Okay. Aqua Mini. Okay. Let's look it up. A Blick. Oh, look. Ultramarine's the first one they had. I mean, that looks less granulating than this. But it could be the paper. It could be how I applied it. I wonder if it'd be possible to apply it in a way that you don't get as much granulation. Yours is a pan, yeah. Does yours look like that? Yeah, I just wonder, because I know I didn't really know that much about, I don't really know much about how paints are processed or anything like that, but when I did my colored pencil video, everything I learned about colored pencils, I got a lot of really amazing comments where people were sharing their knowledge, and they shared that the pencils, one of the pencils that I was reviewing, actually it might have been my video on these let me just get them because I'm having a memory issue. But first, the colors in yours seem pretty smooth because I actually like granulation for landscapes. Yeah, me too. I like granulation when I'm playing, if I'm doing landscape, which I almost never do. But, or if I'm even doing like animal fur. But on human skin, granulation, if you're doing like a small portrait, it just looks weird. It looks like the person's, doesn't even look like anything in particular. It doesn't even look like a rash or like maybe that they have like scars from a fire. No, it just looks odd. It doesn't look like anything. So that's why I don't like it. But if you did like a really big portrait, I think granulation would be fine because skin has pores. And so it would give the texture of skin. But most of the time I'm doing really small, and that's why. Yeah, that's a set. Oh, okay. So let me get the thing I'm talking about. This set. So this is the Faber-Castell Mangus watercolor set. I'll show you. It's kind of dirty because I don't know why. I haven't used it in a while. But these colors, if you look at like what they're made out of, first of all, everything in here is really light fast. And if you look at the same color, but not in this big form. So these are like jumbo. That's one of the things I like about them, is that it gives your hand some variety in holding. So basically, like if I'm always holding this tiny pencil, I can get like shoulder pain. But if I vary what I'm holding and sometimes hold something a little bit bigger or hold something in a different position in a different way, that really helps me. Just variety in holding things. So I picked the Mangus because they're bigger than usual. And they are also all light fast. That's not why I got them, because at the time that I got them, it was purely based on their shape and not whether or not they were light fast. But when I was chatting with people in the comments, they said that there was a different composition for these than with their tinier counterparts. So just the smaller ones, which are not marketed as light fast, have a different composition, and they think they needed to change it to make it light fast. So some of the ones, these same colors, in the regular size, they may or may not have good light fastness, and they may or may not move the same way. Like I feel like there's some of these that are a little grainy, and it might be whatever they put in it to make it more light fast. My dog is crying. If you hear like whining, it's not me. It's the dog. Okay, I think this is dried enough that we can check it out. Now that I'm done on that tangent of compositions. Oh yeah, so basically, why was I saying that? Okay, so if Faber-Castell is using a different amount of, I'm sorry, she's distracting me. Taya, what's wrong? What's wrong? Being old's hard, I guess. Let me put her out. Or actually, let me call Teddy and see if he doesn't have a meeting or something, and he can take care of her. Hey, Teddy.
Hey, what's up?
Could you take Taya? She was walking around a lot, and then she came down to my studio, and now she's laying on the floor crying, and I'm still in the live stream.
Okay.
And I think
Okay.
maybe she needs to go out, but maybe she needs water or food. I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. Okay. He's going to come up and get her. So, Ty, come here. Come. She does not. I was going to offer to pet her, but she's like, no, not interested. Okay. So, with the light fastness, I'm just going to guess that it's possible that if they change the composition and the way the pencil works, just to make it light fast, then to make it a pan versus if let's say that they're manufacturing tons of these little mini aqua things, right? They may change the overall composition 100% of the time. And maybe they never, like, if I were making these things, I'd be like, okay, squeeze out instead of putting it in a tube, we're just putting it in a pan. They may actually, like, manufacture it differently for it to live in the pans. So, okay, I got her. Thank you. Okay, so let's talk about, now that she's going to be happier and cared for, let's straighten this all up here, make it a little more aesthetic, and then we can talk about what we've got here. This is very streaky. That's odd. I'm guessing that too much of the I think too much of the binder must have come out. But we'll do another test. Because the rest of the paints don't look anything like that. And it could just be that maybe this paint has more binder. I don't know. I just added way too much water. Let's soak up the water. I think the way I've applied it is going to make it granulate. Yeah, I was surprised because PV15 usually granulates too, but maybe it's just my pan that doesn't as much. Yeah, you got lucky. Or, well, in your case, you don't maybe feel lucky because you wanted to granulate for your landscapes. So maybe it's inconvenient. So, do you live in the UK by any chance? Because you said colors. You spelled colors the UK way, not the American way. Or I guess you could live anywhere in Europe. Have to head out now. Thanks for the stream. You're welcome. Thank you for joining. I put way too much water. I don't think it's going to be as streaky, although maybe. Is it just the way I'm doing it? Is it the way I'm applying it? I'm confused. Is it user error? Let's just put it directly and try to use as little water as possible. And then see what happens. Yeah, I think it's just a different consistency. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why every time I change it, it's like getting pixelated. I'm going to have to look at the settings. I haven't changed anything, but maybe. Yeah, I'm in the UK. Cool. See you. Okay, so I'm loving everything on here except for the Viridian. I don't know. I feel like the Viridian might be problematic during use. Because I've had times where I've been working on a painting and it gets blotchy because of it'll look like this, and I always thought it was like user error or something, but now I'm thinking it might just be if the binder escapes, that it might be a problem, or an issue with certain paints just being different. What's interesting is that in the tube it's like grainy. I don't know if you can see that. showing it to you. Can you see it's kind of, looks almost like it's got sand mixed in. I just want to make sure we're giving it a fair shot before I say, oh, I can't be using this paint, like avoid using it, which I wouldn't do unless I was doing a finished painting. Like if I was just doing something in my sketchbook, I wouldn't care. But if I'm hoping for great results, or like when I'm doing one of those, I haven't done one in a while, but like some version of Inktober, like a challenge, a drawing challenge. If I'm doing a drawing challenge, I will be kind of in a hurry, and if I'm painting something, like it needs to get done and it needs to get done correctly, and I will not want it to be messed up, and I wouldn't pick this color because I feel like its results are a bit inconsistent, and I would be concerned that I'd have to do something over and I might just not have time during the challenge. So I'd be more likely to pick up this one and use that and try to get to that color than to use this one and to risk running into problems down the line. I guess you could also take this and mix it with that. I think you'd get a similar color if you did that. Or these three. You could definitely find workarounds. But I do like that Viridian's just a single pigment. Okay, so is there anything else I'm noticing that I'd like to share with you? Normally I'm just like, okay, I'm done, bye, because I'm usually super tired. But this went really fast because we didn't have that many paints. So I'm loving the yellow ochre. I'm looking at the screen because of the way the lighting is. Mine's not that bright. Let's put that there for you. Yeah, I'm loving, so far, this is like, I don't have anything this color in any of my other paints. And I don't remember when I swatched it having this. I could look back at the old video. But yeah, I just didn't pay attention to that. The ivory black looks really nice swatched out, or like watered down. Loving the ochre. Do I feel like I'm missing anything? I feel like this is a really well-rounded set. I don't have any browns, but like I said, I don't use a lot of browns because they tend to be so granulating. I wonder though, if we're getting an ultramarine that's not granulating, if we could also get some browns that aren't granulating, it might be worth it. And I wasn't that excited about this brand because I just think I didn't give it enough time. I don't know if I've done any paintings with it. Actually, yes, I have. And I didn't like how the painting turned out at all. That's what made me give up. I'm trying to think if the painting was nearby, I could get it and show it to you. Yeah, the first time I used these, it just went very... It was not what I expected. I'm sorry. When I actually used them in real life, not just swatching, I really didn't love how it turned out at all. So, and I do remember using that color. It was the bear. I was redoing the bear that I did for Inktober. Phone is no longer on silent. Sorry about that. Let's make sure it's not my child. It's not. So we're good. Yeah, I mean, this is looking a little better. A little less streaky. I think we're going to need to log off before it's dry, though. I could turn on the heat lamp and speed things up. Oh. It's stuck. I can't bring it up. Okay, well, I think this is as good as we're gonna get. I will probably do a video reviewing the 3 gouaches I have, and I'll let you know at that time. We'll look through the 3, and I'll be able to tell you if I ended up liking it better. I'm thinking I'll try to use this in a painting again. I think that'd be really cool if I tried to do the same painting with the 3 different gouaches. And maybe I can do that before the painting, before I make the video overviewing it. But that won't be for a couple weeks. So anyways, thank you all for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.